Well, hello, EKN Nation. Welcome to the newest edition of our EKN Debrief, episode number 139. It is Thursday, November the 21st, 2024. My name's Rob Howden, joined by David Cole. And the event is, of course, the Superkarts USA SuperNationals 27 that took place at Las Vegas Motor Speedway out in Las Vegas, Nevada this past weekend. And indeed, the first of two shows. Obviously, one show here, one show tomorrow. We'll come out with another one, split it in half. Otherwise, we'd be here for 3 or 4 hours. Let's dive into our first segment of our race report here on the podcast. This week's show presented by Sodi Racing USA. What brand is known around the world for its innovation and success? It is Superkarts. The Sodi brand returned in full force during the 2023 season thanks to the new exclusive importer, the karting distribution, led by industry veteran Terry Germanovich. The French manufacturer Superkarts is a leader within the karting industry, offering a wide range of products and services. Visit Sodi-Racing-USA.com to learn more about the Superkart chassis or call 954-634-5111 to become part of the Sodi Racing USA network today. Superkart, the world leader in the karting industry. So there you go, David. Struggling with the actual read to start the show off. Probably comes from, 12 hours per day of announcing last week? Oh, my God.
Yeah. Start 8 o'clock and go at least until 6 o'clock each night. Yeah. I mean, that's a good thing. It wasn't, the 8 p.m. nights that we used to have at the Rio of, just lots of racing going on. That's the one thing, looking at the spreadsheet, in 2019, we had 12 classes. In 2018, we had 10. So those were the kind of the longer years. 2013, we had 12. Yeah. That was a big one.
We were there till like 7, 8 at night, 9 at night sometimes. Right?
Exactly. So, the good thing was, you didn't have to be there for warm up. So,
yeah, true.
So it helped there and save, at least an hour of the voice. But, again, that's, we talk about, the SuperNationals being at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway this time, the third time that it's been there. It's a different element because you don't have that walk out of the hotel into the racetrack. So you got to add in that half-hour drive there, that half-hour drive back to the hotel or wherever it is you're staying. So that's a big part of it. They're long days. They're certainly long days. And maybe for the competitors, not so much, but for especially the staff and for the media, it's on track all day, every day.
Well, Dave, remember, when we were doing the live radio broadcast before, there was Kart Chaser or even the CBS Sports Network. Even with the CBS Sports Network, we didn't stream or cover the morning practice, right? We didn't do the 8 to 9 o'clock warm up in the morning. And like you said, you walked outside the Rio. You and I and Nate were leaving at 7 o'clock every morning to get to the track. We likely weren't getting home till 7 o'clock, sometimes 8 o'clock. It was, grabbing dinner on the way home. It was a long weekend. We enjoyed it, but it was a heck of a long weekend. And I know we're all kind of in full recovery mode now. And because of the way the weekend moved around, because of Formula One taking over downtown Las Vegas this week, we used to come out of the Supernats and right into Thanksgiving, right? You guys would get, we'd all get the 4 days of break. Well, that doesn't happen until next week now. So I think we're all walking wounded right now, pretty much. November 13th to the 17th, the date of this year's Superkarts USA SuperNationals 27, as I mentioned before, out at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the lot that we used back in 2021, right, David? 2021?
Correct. 2021, the first time we were there.
That's right. To be honest, we talked about the long days, but for the most part, it was just clear blue skies. Now it was cold in the morning. It was 45 degrees when we got there in the morning, upwards anywhere to the low 50s, mid 60s to high 60s during the day. We did get a little bit of high winds and rain on Friday night, which made things a bit exciting, made the on-track racing exciting for sure. But otherwise, David, I think the weather was pretty good. As long as you dressed for it, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, as long as you dressed for it. The morning hours were, a coat for sure, at least long sleeves, and then it kind of grew to, warmer weather, but nothing too extreme. That was the nice thing about it, is it wasn't extreme weather or extreme warm and then extreme cold like what we had, Friday when the winds came through. But anytime the winds did come through, it made things really cold compared to years past. But always, that's the problem with Vegas. There's nothing there blocking that wind.
No.
So I think it was Friday night when SCUSA called over to our tower and was like, hey, make sure you tell everybody to hunker down. There's wind coming. And it certainly did come through. It came through pretty hard. And then, a brief little bit of rain, again, enough to make the track damp and a little tricky for the pro guys, but able to get through it luckily because it did stop, and it wasn't wasn't even a measurable amount of rain that came down, but just enough to kind of disturb the force of the SuperNationals.
I know for sure I was okay Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I went to the long winter underwear. I was layering up pretty good because, as you know, in the kart chaser tower that we have, it was pretty cold. You're high up, the wind's whistling through. We don't really have any blockage. I know you guys behind us a bit, we're a little more covered. So for myself and Henry Beaudet and Mike Smith, we were kind of layered down pretty good. It was pretty chilly. The winter toques were on as well. So it was cold to a certain extent, but again, when you're out in the sun, it kept things warm. David, let's jump into by the numbers right now. Let's talk about the fact that, a solid weekend in terms of numbers overall. You go a lot further back for some of the big races, but David's 3 straight years right now of over 500 entries. That's big for the SuperNats. It continues to lock down its position, as it has for many years, as the biggest karting event in North America.
Certainly, and being this the third largest next to 2022, which was 586, this one ended up at 550 entries on track over the week. And yeah, just amazing number. Again, 586 in 2022 was with 10 classes. That's when we still had the X30 Master category. So say you had the X30 Master category, we probably could have surpassed it with another 40. So it would have been about at that 590 mark probably. And that would have put us about 12 short of the record, which is 602 in 2013. So, but again, you say, we'll look at some of the other categories tomorrow, but the categories we do have here were essentially sold out with, Micro Swift, K and Master Shifter at 45 and 48. So they actually surpassed that 44 mark that they do set for the categories waiting for cancellations. That's one big thing, I think, before we even get into most of the numbers is there weren't a lot of cancellations. I want to say there were probably 9 total that I received from SCUSA after we gotten the entry list on, what was it, October 29 or whatever. I can't even remember what day. I think that's the day we got it. And yeah, so only about 9 or 10 cancellations from that point to the time we left for Vegas on Monday.
Yeah, it's wild, right? SCUSA over the years has come to understand that they're very likely going to see about 10% cancellations. So if you have a 44, you go to 48 or 49, knowing you're probably going to lose 4 or 5 guys. So just kind of the traditional drop off. It didn't happen, like David, as you said. 45 in micro, 48 in Master Shifter, the biggest category we've had in Master Shifter in the last 5 years. Especially when you go back to the fact that at one point it was down to 15, 19. Just amazing to see that category bounce back as it has. But then the stalwarts we've had the last couple of years, David, 84 drivers in KA100 Junior and 91 in KA100 Senior. Making the main in those classes was a feat in and of itself.
It certainly was. I mean, that you had to be consistent all throughout the heat races. First, you had to get through qualifying. And we saw that was in I don't think in either of these categories, but in some of the other ones was quite interesting when you split up the groups. You had drivers who got stuck in the slower groups, so they almost made their way up into the top 10 overall from the slow group. So that was an interesting point. Yeah. But even, K100 Senior, they're drivers that didn't even make the LCQs. And that's, I think K Junior as well, too, because the numbers were so high. Yeah. Very interesting, when you you go into an event like this, you're trying to make them, knowing that over half the people are going to leave, but it sucks even worse not to even get to attempt the last chance qualifier.
Agreed. All right, folks, so we're underway here for this edition of the EKN Debrief, episode number 139, the first of two shows that we report on for the Superkarts USA SuperNationals 27. After this break, we're going to come back with the Paddock Pass. There's a new hot button name in American safety equipment, Stilo USA. Every product with Stilo is focused on safety, comfort, and function. Stilo USA is happy to provide you with the proper safety apparel to keep you protected on the track, and their karting lineup is second to none. New to the product lineup is the Stilo Carbon CMR karting helmet. Designed to revolutionize your karting experience, this carbon fiber crafted helmet is among the lightest on the market, without compromising on safety. The Stilo ST5 KRT karting helmet is manufactured using a lightweight and extremely strong composite material. The KRT provides an excellent fit and comfort level due to its dual density interior foam lining, and it's equipped with a symmetrical visor that offers excellent vision and an effortless central visor locking system. The Stilo ST5 CMR standard was developed jointly by the FIA Institute and Snell Memorial Foundation to ensure safer and lighter weight helmets for younger karters. Drivers rave about the superior comfort levels, lightweight construction, and the unparalleled field of vision that is perfect for the youth helmet line. Stilo didn't stop with their helmets either. The newly developed Carbon Curva rib protector is unlike any other on the market, with a form-fitting solution to offer superior protection. The Carbon Curva 8870 version is FIA homologated and includes a chest protector. Head to StiloHelmets.com to review these products and many more to keep you safe on the track. Stilo, any competition, one helmet. Ready to step up your game? Joining the Rawlison Performance Group is the obvious choice to take your racing to the next level. Industry-leading driver development is provided by our staff of multi-time national champions, SuperNationals winners, and Team USA members. And at the same time, RPG continues to be a national-level powerhouse race team. Our goal is to help you raise your game and win races. We work with all age groups and are focused on developing those cadet and junior drivers who are ready to take the next step in their racing program. Rawlison Performance Group has set a new standard with our in-house engine program, AVP Engines, headed by Alex Vincent. AVP has become the benchmark in IAME competition. We have the largest OTK inventory that follows our race team, providing trackside parts at all the major events in North America. RPG also offers multilingual support with French, Spanish, and Portuguese-speaking staff. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. The Rawlison Performance Group. We race to win. Welcome back to EKN Debrief number 139. Rob Howden here with David Cole to provide our race review of this past weekend Superkarts USA SuperNationals, the 27th running of the event, the first of two shows here to wrap up our trackside coverage. Into the Paddock Pass right now, presented by the Skip Barber Racing School. Are you looking for the next step in racing? Go from karts to cars with the Skip Barber Racing School. Skip Barber alumni are champions in every motorsports series, including Formula One, NASCAR, IMSA, and IndyCar. Get behind the wheel of a Skip Barber Formula 4 car featuring a 160 horsepower turbocharged engine. Our highly structured and competitive Skip Barber Formula Race Series is the perfect platform to start your career so you can fulfill your dream of becoming a champion. With equalized race cars and a focus on driver development, your driving skills will determine if you end up in victory lane. Learn more about the Skip Barber Racing School at skipbarber.com or call 866-932-1949. All right, David, obviously, when we hit the ground running at any event, especially the SuperNationals, you got a couple of days, a little more practice, of course, for the SuperNats. We go to work, you go to work on the Paddock Insider. That's essentially what we're bringing here for you, all the Paddock Pass information that kind of rolled out throughout the day. Let's get things started with the simple fact that we were, to a certain extent, on the strip, Las Vegas Boulevard.
Yeah, you keep forgetting that the Las Vegas Boulevard goes all the way that far north, and it's pretty funny to where our tower was. If you look behind us, that was
Yep.
Las Vegas Boulevard. So, I guess technically last year we weren't because of the location of where the parking lot we actually utilized. So I would say this was our third time on the Las Vegas Strip because 2021 we were in the similar parking lot area on the backside of the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and then when we were at the Las Vegas Convention Center in 2017, we basically put the racetrack right next to the Strip. So the other 2 years at the Las Vegas Convention Center, we weren't quite on it because of the way buildings and this and that were constructed, and then that new parking lot that eventually has been destroyed and is now gone, was set up on 2017 perfectly for us to actually be on the Las Vegas Strip.
Indeed. So one of the big things that happened, folks, at the track, when the track all went together, everybody gets to the facility. It opened up at 4:00 on Tuesday afternoon. The track walk, David, we got a chance to kind of go all the way around the track with everybody. We got a lot of input from drivers. It was a fun live show on Facebook. But bottom line is 3/4 of a mile, the distance of the track. Neil Strickland put that program together. 16 corners. The track itself drew high praises. It obviously raced extremely well, but everybody saw from the get-go, David, they were pretty happy with what they saw.
Yeah, there was a lot of excitement about it compared to, I think, what we saw last year doing the track walk. I think that was the biggest difference. Was this was more visually a racetrack, where last year looked kind of just like they put a bunch of barriers out and let's see what happens. Although, last year it raced really well. And after, once you get the carts on the racetrack, you made a little adjustments and you still had to do that with this, 3/4 mile racetrack that they did lay out because of the way, just how certain turns formed. You got to move some barriers around to try and eliminate the constant hitting of barriers. So, that was, adjustments last year. The biggest one was obviously the straightaway. This year was just little minute changes to move the barriers around. There could have been some different layout segments, I think, which could have helped with that. But again, until you get carts on the racetrack, you really don't know. But, walking the racetrack, everybody was excited. And even after, they talked about how it was a fast track. Lots of rhythm, a big flowing racetrack, and certainly there were plenty of opportunities to pass.
Yeah, agreed. It turned out to be another fantastic racetrack up there with one of the best ones I think we've had. And of course, the bottom line is the fact the track itself is very smooth as well. It's a fairly new parking lot, so it wasn't bumpy like we've had at the Rio. The shifter drivers were complaining about first gear corners. All told, I think everybody was really happy with the track itself. One driver who didn't have a chance to even get a look at the track, David, was the reigning world champion, Giuseppe Palumba. That was some big news that the driver, the Superkart driver, was not able to get there. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it dealt with visa and passport situation to where he wasn't able to make the trip to the United States. So he talked to us through social media, and he was very disappointed in it, but is really looking forward to returning or hoping to make his debut next year at the SuperNationals. But Sodi Racing USA and Sodi USA by Velocity Racing brought in a ringer, a super sub, calling up Emilian Denner. The driver left, I think he arrived Wednesday night and got to the racetrack Thursday for the first time, made the 2 practice sessions, and then got into qualifying and was certainly a story all week long. We'll get more into that tomorrow in our show. But unfortunately, there were a lot of world champions. It would have been great to see Palumba there, but hope to see him there next year.
David, let's talk about the fact that the SuperNats was kind of a place for the new homologation material to show up, right? Because what next year is 2025 is chassis and bodywork. Is that
Correct.
yeah? So we saw a lot of different bodywork, which is very interesting. I know you had a chance to file a segment on that in the Paddock Insider.
Yeah, I think the more notable one is the OTK products that are coming out, the fairing and nose cones that they are now producing. It kind of looked like the Batmobile a little bit on the fairing. It certainly, when you saw it in pictures, it looked like it was very raised and kind of bulky, but when you saw it in person, it was a little bit more slick and or sleek and not as bulky. So that was a kind of viewpoint of that. And then also the new KG bodywork that Burrell Art, CRG, and other manufacturers, Maranello as well too, are utilizing, where it's kind of a ribbed fairing where there's insert or it's almost like shark fins that are on the top of the fairing that kind of helps with airflow from the bottom up through it and then back out and then up to the top of the fairing. So very unique design. And then their end plates on the nose are actually cut out. So there's actually a hole on the end plates of the noses. So that's an interesting part. One thing that, kind of struck my mind, you remember the older style rear bumpers that kind of had the points. That would not do well against those.
No,
but
right.
I think most of the rear bumpers that they are now producing are a little bit more block style. So I don't think we're going to have any. There could be some of that hooking scenarios that does happen somehow, but it's very interesting to see the changes that the manufacturers are doing, not only for airflow but for stability and weight as well too.
Yeah, I know that there was a segment that was done by Kart Chaser talking with Jordan Lennox about the updated brake package as well, master cylinder for Burrell Art. So yeah, obviously we don't see massive swings in design changes these days, right? So it's really just fine tuning every year. So good to see the new homologation material in the USA at the SuperNationals. Always a great place to put it on, on spotlight because it's such a major event. Speaking of major events, Comp-Cart celebrating 10 years, their 10-year anniversary this year at the SuperNationals. Of course, that brand, Choose the Flow. We've seen it for the last 10 years. It's had some big moments in its career, but 10 years for that brand, Comp-Cart, both in the U.S. and around the world. Yeah,
the brand that was launched by J3 Competition, Justin Stefani, John and Jim Giacomelli. It's been a stalwart here in the U.S. and it's becoming a popular brand around the world. Certainly, having a number of different dealers across the globe, but most notably becoming a Road Tax Grand Finals chassis partner as well too. And I believe that was 2019 that we mentioned. But talking with Stefani about it, their proudest thing is that they're a brand that works with every tire manufacturer and works with every engine manufacturer out there. So you see Comp-Cart chassis at all different events across the platforms that are out there, especially here in the USA. So I don't doubt we'll see another 10 years of Comp-Cart brand or more moving forward.
Agreed. Obviously, Superkarts USA had a number of companies on site that were displaying, and one that kind of caught our focus a little bit was K1 and K1 Race Gear and Freem. David, they were trackside. I had a chance to sit down and talk with them about some movement coming with the Freem brand, and it's something that we'll have a bit more editorial on that coming very shortly. But that was something we thought that was definitely worth being inside the Paddock Insider.
Yeah, some news coming out for that, with their kind of merger that's happening between Freem and K1 Race Gear. So, stay tuned for that. But they were certainly front and center at the grandstands, getting that information out to all the competitors and spectators that were there this week.
Indeed. There you go, folks. That is your Paddock Pass, brought to you by the Skip Barber Racing School. Off to another quick break. Time to jump into the race report. We'll roll through 4 of the categories here today. We'll start with KA100 Junior, move into Master Shifter. After that, go to KA100 Senior, and wrap it all up for the race report with Micro Swift. After this break, when we come back, KA100 Junior. Made in the USA. That's exactly what you get from Precision Karting Technologies. Based in Detroit, Michigan, PKT brings over 35 years of manufacturing experience to the sport of karting. Their passion for the sport began focusing around the Kid Kart platform and has expanded every year with hundreds of products designed to put you on the podium. Precision Karting Technologies is known around North America for their successful line of axles, available in all age groups. PKT manufactures a number of engine products for Comer, IAME, Rock, Rotax, and the popular Briggs & Stratton 206. A wide variety of chassis components for the many brands in the sport are available through PKT, including hubs, pedal risers, skid plates, and other hardware for your kart. Axle straightening, chassis adjustments, engine service, and specific CNC machining projects are available through their Motor City headquarters. To learn more about the many products and services available from Precision Karting Technologies, head to pktaxles.com. All over the karting world, everyone knows OTK is the gold standard for quality and performance. In the United States, OTK USA is the source for all things OTK. 8 brands under the OTK USA banner are winning races and championships across the country in national programs like the Rock Cup USA Florida Winter Tour, the Challenge of the Americas, the SCUSA Pro Tour and Winter Series, the United States Pro Kart Series, and even more programs throughout the country. And OTK products are also front and center on the podium of club and regional races from coast to coast. Tony Kart, Cosmic, Esprit, EOS, and Red Speed have been joined by the Gallard, LN Racing Kart, and CS55 brands. To learn more about a specific product line or to find the OTK USA dealer near you, visit otkusa.com. Specific chassis territories are still available, so kart shops interested in adding a winning component to their product lineups can contact OTK USA directly. OTK, the gold standard of karting. Welcome back to episode number 139 of our EKN Debrief. David Cole, myself, Rob Howden, deep diving into the Superkarts USA SuperNationals 27. Part 1 of 2 parts. We'll have the next show tomorrow, recording it tomorrow. Time to dive into the race report. Let's start talking about the racing. This race report presented by Comet Kart Sales. History, success, family. These are the 3 words that describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the U.S. The family-owned operation is located just outside Indianapolis and has provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in their near 6 decades of business. Their brand new, updated online store features everything you need, and they are continually adding new parts to their product line. Make sure you head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. All right, let's roll into the KA100 Junior category. And as always, I'll roll out the headline. You can start filling in the gaps, and we'll talk a little more about it. Here is the headline for KA100 Junior. Garzon gains redemption with first SuperNationals victory.
This was an interesting category, kind of like how I predicted it would be, but not quite how I thought it would turn out. And you know, when you speak of Garzon and we talk about redemption, let's kind of go back to last year's race where Turner Brown crosses the line first, but a pushback bumper penalty while they're looking at the carts puts Garzon on top of the podium. Well, the pushback bumper penalty gets removed, and thus they put Turner Brown on top of the podium, or gives him the victory. So Garzon got to celebrate the actual victory itself on the podium, but then had it kind of taken away after the penalty was removed. So interesting scenario for that. Now we go into this year's event, and again, I thought it was going to be a lot of different drivers up front, and we certainly saw that. John Antonino coming out and laying down fast time in qualifying at 52.330. He was able to better last year's winner, Turner Brown, Max Cristia in third, Ty Fisher in fourth, and then Sebastian Garzon in the 5th spot, the SCUSA Winter Series champion, who we thought, was probably going to be one of those drivers to contend for the victory.
Yep.
He was the only one to get 2 wins over the 3 rounds of heat races that we did see. Garzone winning the opening heat race with Turner Brown taking the other heat win. Round 2 was Antonino and Ty Fisher taking the wins, and then Garzone and Isaac Malkit taking a heat win of his own. So we did see 5 drivers taking the 6 heat wins. So that kind of shuffled up the order as we saw Antonino drop all the way back to 9th in the starting order with 2 bad heat races of his own. But Turner Brown, pretty consistent over his 3 heats to take the top spot in the pole position for the main event with Sebastian Garzone on the outside of the front row. Ty Fisher, Diego Ardiles in row 2, Alex Vanchev and Lev. I can never get his name right.
Krutogolov. Golov. It says Golov. H. It says H. But I spoke with him on the podium.
Golov. Yeah. There we go. Got it. See, I said it.
You're in.
Perfect. I love it. I'm in. That was the top 6 starters going into the main event, where we saw multiple leaders, including Garzone, Fisher, Vidmantian, and Krutogolov, until Fisher grabbed the lead at the white flag. It was kind of a good move. He was able to get there. Unfortunately, as he was making his way around on the last lap, he left just enough room for Garzone to go inside at turn 13.
Yep.
Garzone made the move, able to get through clean, as then Fisher had to go on defensive with the rest of the group behind him. And Garzone, that was it. That was the move. He was able to get through the final couple of corners and celebrate the victory, this time completely for his first SuperNationals win.
Yeah, listen, that race was just fun to watch. As many people that may have watched it on Kart Chaser, it was a battle back and forth. So many different leaders, like you had said before, David. Fisher was the man on the move. Really a breakout weekend, I think, for Ty Fisher. He really impressed, being up front and in the middle of the fight the entire time as the lone driver on the TB card up there. Same with Krutogolov, rather as the lone energy driver. But yeah, that move for Garzone coming out of turn number 11, that fast right-hander. He set up way wide to the right. Obviously, Fisher running more defensive line, not wanting to open up the inside. It was a beautiful over-under, forced his way to the inside, and was able to come away with the win. Garzone, again, by 0.629 seconds. David, I just thought it was a fantastic battle all the way through.
It was. I thought there was going to be more chaos in this class. We saw that in the other junior category.
We did.
Yes. It was a great start. Again, we're going to classes. So this was the first main event on track, produced exciting racing, and it was good, clean racing, nothing dirty. Nobody putting off people into the wall. It was a good, clean race, and a good fight. Again, I think Fisher, if he would have went defensive there in turn 13, might have been able to hang on through the final couple of corners, but you never know. But Garzone made the move when he had to. He opened the door, and Garzone took it.
Yeah, I think the only thing Fisher might have been able to do is open up the exit of turn 11 a little more, right? Come back to the right a little bit more, because he defending on the inside of turn number 12, the kart's just naturally going to roll to the outside a little bit. He can't pinch it down enough coming through that corner, and that Ardiles had just made such a really good over-under. So, and indeed, great run for Garzone as the winner. Fisher second, Krutogolov in third, Diego Ardiles fourth, and Enzo Vidmantian fifth. Hard charger of the race. Got to scroll down a little bit, David, but a really good run. Although from deeper in the field, Travis Pettit started back in the 43rd position, essentially split the difference, drove up to 22nd as he made up 21 spots over that race. Pretty good run, I think, for Pettit there.
Yeah, had to come from the last chance qualifier to be able to make his way into the main event, and certainly had pace. Pettit, I was just trying to find where he had qualified. I thought it was in the top 20, but I guess not. So yeah, just a bit of a struggle. There he is, qualified 32nd. So just didn't quite have the pace there, but was able to show it on Sunday. And that's something we'll talk about in the wrap up is, some days we're good, some days we're bad for some of these competitors.
So as you know, folks, if you watched our preview show, we all did predictions. Myself, Nate, and David did predictions. This is going to be probably the only high note I'll have here in this show. I ended up winning this one with 3 points. Nate 2. David, you only got 1 point in this one.
I did. I told you this was the one, man. This was the class where I went rogue. It certainly showed because I only got one, which happened to be Sebastian Garzone, but none of us had Garzone winning. No. You did get 3 drivers in the top 5. That was Sebastian Garzone, Diego Ardiles, and Enzo Vidmontien. Yeah. While Nate was able to only get 1 driver in the top 5. That was Vidmontien, but he did select Vidmontien to finish 5th. So an extra point there for that correct prediction. So yes, Rob 3, Nate 2, me with 1. So enjoy it while you can, because that's the last you'll get.
Yeah. When we get around the corner after this quick break, folks, David's going to smoke us in Master Shifter. We'll get back to the Comet Kart Sales Race Report after this. Check out any major national karting event, and what's the common thread? Speed Concepts Racing. Up front, in every class, every weekend. The Speed family has been at the forefront of American karting for over 25 years, and Speed Concepts Racing is the sole dedication of Father Mike Speed and his multi-time championship-winning son Alex Speed. This program is all about passion for the sport and a dedication to winning. They know how to get it done. If you're a senior driver ready to put yourself amongst the best in the country, Speed Concepts Racing is the program for you. We can win the big races. You just need to be in the seat. The Speeds program has delivered time over time in the junior classes as well, helping to elevate a long list of young drivers from mid-pack to potential race winners. Speed Concepts Racing has the perfect equation of coaching, driver development, and technical knowledge to elevate your program. Arrive and drive opportunities are available for the remainder of the 2023 season, and we're locking in seats for 2024 as well. If you're ready to take your career to the next level, contact Speed Concepts Racing through email at speedconceptsracing@gmail.com. Wins at the sport's biggest races, as well as championships across all levels of karting, pack the resume for Nitro Kart. The Nitro Kart brand has made its statement as the best, fastest, and most reliable cadet chassis on the North American karting market. If you want to win in cadet, both in 2-cycle and 4-cycle competition, get a Nitro Kart and join the team. Team Nitro Kart will be at all major events, trackside with Ryan Perry Motorsport, the official race team. Owner Ryan Perry and his RPM operation carries the full selection of Nitro Kart chassis and parts, while also providing the same driver development focus as Nitro Kart owner Nick Tucker. You can also join the Team Nitro Kart race team at all major 4-cycle races this season. Led by longtime Nitro Kart tuner Cody Johnson, Team Nitro Kart will be at all the major Cup Karts North America events with arrive and drive opportunities available for all ages. Nitro Motorsports is a true karts-to-karts driver development program that is already gaining success after launching in 2022. Victories and championships in the Trans Am Series has highlighted the team's start, along with the success in the new GR Cup by Toyota. Current and former karters can take advantage of this unique ladder system with Nitro Kart and Nitro Motorsports. Visit Nitro Kart online and find them on social media. Nitro Kart, race one or chase one. Welcome back to episode 139 of the EKN Debrief. We are diving into the Superkarts USA SuperNationals 27. 4 categories in this part 1 of our trackside coverage, our debrief podcast. We'll jump into the Master Shifter category. We talked about the fact before the break that David smoked us here in Master Shifter. The crazy thing is both Nate and I did really well. When we get to the end, our predictions are so solid. David just was really good with this one here. Here's a headline, ladies and gentlemen. Master Shifter, Musgrave earns record high 5th SuperNationals triumph.
Yeah, it's something we all kind of thought was going to be the storyline for this category, with Billy Musgrave making his debut in the Master Shifter ranks. We also saw a lot of international drivers moving over into this category. One of them being Boss Lammers, the former SuperNationals winner back in 2009, the year Michael Schumacher came and donned us with his presence and competed in the Super Pro category that year. Boss Lammers ending up with the fast time this week in qualifying, a 47.443 to beat out last year's winner, Davide Foray. Billy Musgrave, as we talked about, coming in third in the session with Jordan Musser and then Thomas Meach in the Fast Five. Now, those were the five names we pretty much talked about in this category all week long, because they pretty much stayed in the top five the entire distance. The only thing that was different was the opening heat race, where we did see a little bit of argy-bargy stuff with Lammers and Musgrave. Rob, you saw it. I didn't see it when it happened. So talk a little bit about that.
Before that, let's talk about something that changed the weekend for a number of drivers. And that was during qualifying, because one of them ends up being the hard charger. One of them ends up being on the podium. But during qualifying, what was it? I think the first or second lap of qualifying.
First lap. Yeah.
Patrick Hajek and Robert Boudicot end up getting together in turn number 11. They're both into the barriers. So here they are at the start of this category, which we know massive amount of drivers in this class. They're at the very tail because they didn't really even put a lap in for that contact. So that really kind of shifted things there. Lammers, Foray, Musgrave, Musser, Mitch, top five in qualifying. In the opening heat race,
Robbie didn't make a lap, but
okay.
Hajek actually got back on the race, got restarted.
That's right.
Got the 14th quickest lap, which was over a second slower.
Which is surprising, because I felt like his contact might have been even harder than Boudicot's. But anyways, in the first heat race, not surprising, good battle up front. Lammers leading, Musgrave able to get by Foray. Foray actually got the whole shot in all three heat races from the outside of the front row. It seemed like for the shifter guys, the outside P2 was a better launch with more grip, I think, coming off the line. He got all three whole shots, Foray did. But Lammers got by, then Musgrave got by, and then late in the run, last lap I think it was, Musgrave, because literally Musgrave tried to make a move to the inside of Lammers in turn number 4. Lammers slammed the door hard on him and kind of leaned on him. Billy came back and decided, okay, enough's enough. He made the move in the inside of turn 12, the left-hander. It leads into that essentially last complex of corners. It wasn't a good move. There really wasn't any room there. They got together. Lammers into the barriers on the outside. Musgrave was able to continue. He ends up getting the win, but he gets the 5-position penalty, I believe, for the contact. Foray gets the victory, so it drops Musser back to third because of the time. They were far enough ahead. Lammers, though, David, got a 10-second penalty for unsafe return to the track. He hammered into the barriers backwards, kept it running, and was able to pull away, but drove right out in front of everybody else that was coming through.
Yeah, it was a 5-second penalty for the contact, but like you said, Lammers got the worst of it, getting knocked down, because I think he crossed the line 17th, but then lost the 10 seconds with the unsafe reentry. So that dropped him all the way back to 28th. Ouch. In the final tally. So Musgrave, even though he was the aggressor, pretty much came out clean with only losing a couple points as Foray finished first, and then Musser was elevated to second. So
David, heat 2 and heat 3 pretty much carbon copies, right? Foray gets the lead off the whole shot. Again, all three whole shots in the heat races for Foray. Lammers eventually gets by. It goes Lammers, Foray, Musgrave. That was the last two heat races. Correct.
Yeah, that's how it played out the last two. And then again, you had Musser and Mitch right there in fourth and fifth. So again, they were pretty much all right kind of there, while the rest of the groups were all battling behind them. So it ended up being Foray with a pole position, Musgrave second, Musser third, Mitch fourth, and then Patrick Hajek, who, as we talked about, qualified in the 14th spot, but worked his way up to 6th, 7th, and 8th to be able to start 5th on the main event grid, while Lammers, with his 28th result and 2 heat race wins, dropped him to 8th on the grid behind Jonathan Vitolo and Alan Shudo.
So again, we talked about the fact that the outside of the front row was kind of the place to launch, and that was Musgrave. He was able to get the launch. Listen, not surprising. Foray looked good in his launches, but we've always talked about the fact that before being in karting, Musgrave was a motocrosser, where obviously the whole shot is the key. He knows the clutch. He knows how to handle it. Got out off the line quicker than Foray, and essentially David was never headed from there and drove away to the 20 laps and his 5th SuperNationals victory.
Yeah, it was a whole shot victory. I asked him afterwards, I said, was that your best whole shot? And he thought about it. He's like, yeah, probably. But he goes, no, wait, the Newcastle one where I didn't have a clutch, that was probably the best one.
True.
But in a victory, that's how you want to win. You want to get out to the lead and not get challenged, and that's essentially what happened, because Lammers came up through the field, was able to get by everybody, get into the second. I think the gap was maybe 1.5, 1.8 around there. And really, he only was able to get a few tenths here and there as Musgrave took the victory by just over a second, with Lammers finishing with fast lap of the race, a 47.1, where Musgrave was a 47.4. So that tells you Lammers was on the move early and just wasn't quite able to get there enough. So had it not been for that penalty, we could be talking about a different winner.
Yeah. Lammers there was a part of that race where Lammers was closing and was eating into the gap, and then all of a sudden it kind of leveled off. He plateaued, and Billy put down some good laps and was able to keep that gap, to 1.1.
But he also had a close call too, as well, because he was fifth at one point, right behind Mitch and Musser.
Yeah.
And I think that was lap 4 where they retired. Mitch came out of, it was lap 6. They came out of that turn 4 into turn 5, and all of a sudden it just looked like Mitch lost power. I'm pretty sure that had to be something like that, where it was power plant related. I don't think a chain broke, or maybe the sprocket broke. Something mechanical happened. Musser had nowhere to go, went right into the back of him. They both went into the wall. Thomas actually got out of the cart, tried to help Musser get going, because he knew that his race was done.
Yep.
Because of it being a mechanical. And Musser was able to, I think he fell back to 20, fell back all the way to 24th, was able to work his way back up to 13th. So
wow.
An unfortunate circumstances for Musser, as we say, when is he going to win one? Because that's basically what keeps him coming back, as he wants to win the SuperNationals. So a tough break for him. But as we said, 4A sitting there third behind Lammers, hijack up into the 4th after all that. And then a great battle for 5th between Alan Shudo and Jonathan Vitolo. It was pretty good to see the two GFC guys going at it, with Shudo getting a second straight podium after not racing last year.
Yeah, I did a great job for Alan Shudo getting up there as well. We talked at the start of the class here about Robert Boudreau, the Magic Kart USA driver, having the trouble in qualifying, starting at the tail of the field. Well, that meant that all 3 heat races he was at the back. David, you have noted here 64 positions through the 3 heat races to move from essentially 48th up into 26th for the start, plus 17. Boudreau into the top 10. He passed like 10 guys, I think, the first lap. It was amazing him coming back to the front.
Yeah, it was a clinic for sure. I think he had issues in the 3rd heat, so he only got up to 34th after starting 48th. But yeah, you go from 48th to 22nd in the 2nd heat, so that's a lot of karts you're passing. And again, to essentially almost get a kart a lap in the main event and get yourself in the top 10. He was very frustrated after qualifying, and basically was saying how his weekend was ruined. And I'm like, yeah. I go, but still, a top 10 performance would be outrageous, and that's what he was able to do.
Yeah, agreed. Well done for Boudreau. So we talked about the predictions in KA 100 Junior already, where I won with 3. Right, Nate 2, David 1. Here's the thing, I got 9. So I would consider 9. Man, well done, Rob. You picked them. You did a good job. Pick Nate 8. Yeah. Cole rolls out a 16-pointer on this one here. How did you get the 16 points out of the top 5? What? I'm sure. Did you have all? You didn't have all 5 guys, did you? You picked Boudreau, I thought.
No, I had 4 drivers in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you had 4 drivers in the top 5. We all had. Both of us had Musgrave, Lammers, 4A, hijack.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Nate only had Musgrave, Lammers, 4A. Didn't have the hijack. So the great thing about my selections was I had 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in the proper positions. So I
went 4A over Lammers, didn't I?
You had 4A over Lammers. I had Lammers over 4A. Yeah. So that was the difference. We both had hijack in the top 5. We both had him 5th, actually. So if it would have been better for him to finish 5th, but The Thomas Mitch thing, I think, maybe Hijack would have gotten Musser later. So I could have been perfect, but I don't think we had a perfect one maybe a long time ago.
I don't think
we've ever had a perfect, but this one probably, like I talked about, we had the same top 5 all week long. And I think this one would have been it for me, but it didn't materialize.
Could have played out. Needless to say, this is what's going to give David his big jump here for sure. So we'll have a look.
There's others. Don't worry.
Yeah. I know. Dude, hold on. You didn't beat me by that much in the next one. Let's be real. I'm a lot closer than you. I think you expected me to be. Let's just be real about this. So, anyways, let's go to another break. When we get back with the Comet Card Sales Race Report, we'll jump in to KA100 Senior. Established in 1999, PSL Karting has become a powerhouse within the karting industry for North America and around the world. PSL Karting is your complete source for all Burrell Art products as the North American importer, providing this top quality product through both their expansive dealer network or through the PSLkarting.com online store. Whatever you need is available 24/7 online, including safety gear, parts, components, and full karting packages. All 3 brands, Burrell Art, Ricardo Kart, and Charles Leclerc Karts, are in stock and ready to hit the track. Grab your winning chassis for any category by visiting PSLkarting.com to find your nearest dealer. PSL Karting is always looking for interest in new dealers and teams to help create new business relationships. Drivers looking to take their talents to the next level can join the Burrell Art North America race team, competing at all the major U.S. and Canadian events this season. When you're ready to win, go with PSL Karting. Winning takes top quality equipment, flawless preparation, experienced coaching, and passion. And at Team GFC, we live our passion. Developed by American karting champion Gary Carlton, the GFC chassis has become one of the newest brands to reach the top of the podium in North America. GFC has garnered victories and championships at all levels of the sport since its debut at the end of 2018. Shifter car drivers are at the front of the field in the GT14 frame, with the SS31 a consistent contender in tag and 100cc competition. Team GFC has a ride and drive packages available for all categories, including the mini and micro classes utilizing the GFC RR5 cadet chassis. These young pilots have the opportunity to be part of the Team GFC Young Driver Development Program. Learn from one of the best American karters with 28 years racing at the highest levels in the sport, offering personalized training on and off the track. Follow GFC Karting on Facebook and Instagram, or click over to gfckarting.com to learn more about joining Team GFC. GFC, live your passion. Welcome back to episode 139 of the EKN Debrief as we chat about the Superkarts USA SuperNationals, the 27th running of the event this past weekend at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Rob Howden alongside David Cole. It's the Comet Card Sales Race Report. Jumping now into KA100 Senior, and here's your headline: Tourney wins in thriller.
Hate to say I told you so, but I told you so.
I got this one too. I got Tourney in this one. I didn't get
Hate
Tourney.
to say I told you so, but
you didn't tell me. I got this one too. We both got this one. Listen, save that BS for tomorrow's X30 Pro.
All right.
You and I both got this one.
Good point. I know. I just like starting about that. One thing we did have Paulie Massimino as one of the favorites going into the race weekend. I certainly showed that in the qualifying session, putting up a 51.786 to set the way in qualifying, ahead of veteran race Liberante, former SCUSA Pro Tour champion Colin Lloyd in third, Texas Sprint Racing Series champion Peyton Phillips in fourth. And then Jake Drew the shoe in the fifth, rounding out the Fast Five.
Hey, question. Did Phillips win I think he won the SCUSA Winter Series one year too, didn't he?
Might have. I know
Yeah.
he's a Texas Sprint Racing Series champion for sure. He probably have won. It might have been a couple years back.
Yeah. Let's just say there's lots of talent up front.
Lots of talent up front. That's something we knew was going to be happening.
Yeah.
We knew we were going to see. Now, the shocking thing that we did see in qualifying was Joe Turney back in the 18th position. So let's keep that in mind as we move forward. As we said, Massimino, he looked to be the guy to beat in this category. Came out and won all 3 of his heat races. So he had a perfect score going through all the way to Super Sunday. Race Liberante was right there, won one of his heat races, finished 3rd in the other 2. So he was kind of right there. But it seemed like he was smart enough to keep people behind him. If you know what I mean, like
he was on the defensive quite a bit.
Yeah, a little bit more on the defensive than certainly Massimino was doing. So, Terlecki was the other race winner along with Oliver Calvo. So they put themselves up into the battle. Calvo actually qualified in 19th, so he certainly made some moves in the heat races because he ended up starting the main event in the 5th spot with again Massimino and Liberante holding 1st and 2nd. Frankie Mossman, another driver, he actually qualified 20th.
Wow.
Made his way up into second, and 3rd in the heat races.
He was fast.
So Mossman was fast, Calvo fast, both under the Speed Concepts Racing tent. So they certainly had found something. So Mossman ended up starting the main event in the 3rd spot. Vasquez on the GFC in 4th. Calvo in 5th. Peyton Phillips in 6th. And then lurking back there a little bit, Joe Turney moved up to the 7th spot for the main event with finishes of 2nd, 6th, and 5th. So again, not crazy outright speed, but was calculated and got himself closer to the front of the field. And again, once the green flag waved, we knew stuff was going to go crazy. You combine all these good drivers into one race, and that's certainly what happened. Unfortunately, for Massimino, it happened right away where he just pushed it out wide just a little bit at turn 11, bent the rear axle. He was done after lap 1.
What was it, 11 or was it?
It was 11. Yeah, if you go back and check out the footage,
I thought it was 15.
No, he can't. Oh yeah, sorry, 15. Yes, 15. It was 15. Yes, came out wide, and a lot of people, they could do it. You could just tap it a little bit. You could, where we were sitting, you could always hear just a little thud. A little tap, and you would have been all right. But he hit it just enough to where it severely bent the axle, and he had to pull off right away after that.
Yeah, and how we all know Paulie, right? And his focus and dedication to the sport. Can you imagine that drive down the straightaway? Because he comes out of 15, hits it, bends the axle, rolls out of 16, all that 850-foot run down the front straightaway to pull off in the scales, knowing that your Super Nationals is over after qualifying on pole, winning all 3 heat races. Man, my heart went out for him when he went. Just watching him kind of hobble down the front straightaway back to the scales. Tough.
Yeah, not a good moment for him. Obviously, a former winner here at the Super Nationals, trying to get a second. This was certainly his opportunity, and to see it go away like that, that's not a fun ride down to the scale line for sure. As the race continued, it was a lot of jostling for position. Eventually, Turney, as I said, he's very calculated in the way he was moving, inched his way forward, got into the lead by lap 10, and that was it. They started battling for second behind him. Yeah. He was able to get a good gap. Liberante and Terlecki and Calvo and Vasquez, they're all battling. Mossman, they're all battling behind Turney, and that's all Turney needed. Literally
gloves off. It's like they gave up.
It was way better than the Tyson fight on Friday night for sure.
At least they were trying.
At least they were trying, exactly. And that's exactly what it was. It was a battle for second because out front, Turney drove away to a 3.3 second margin of victory. And that was it. That was a battle for second on racetrack. It ended up being the last lap where Liberante and Terlecki went side by side into turn 11, which didn't happen very often on the week. And Terlecki made hard contact with the curb on the inside. It bolted him to the left into the side Liberante. They basically both had to check up so they didn't hit the wall.
How they didn't hit the wall, I don't know.
Talent. I mean, they do.
Yeah.
I mean, I would put Terlecki or Liberante on a race team any day of the week for sure.
Wow, no doubt.
Again, they're all going for it. Terlecki certainly went for it. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was a great move. It wasn't a bonsai move, but it was a low percentage move to make it there.
Here's what it takes. We saw that move performed a number of times over the weekend. The guy making the move to the inside of 11, because it's a fast, not even a 90 degree, like not quite a 90 degree right hander. The guy that made it had to be decisive, and the guy that was getting past needed to give it up. Otherwise, you're going to be in the wall, right? And again, if that pass happens 5 laps earlier, Liberante probably gives it up. Yeah, you got me. Great pass. I got you. Tuck back in, right? On the last lap, race is like, no. We saw him. He was running defensive. He was running aggressive throughout the race. He just said, no, this isn't happening right here. And didn't give it up. And that's where the contact came from, right?
Yeah, very similar pass to what we saw in Pro Shifter later on in the day. So, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. So again, a low calculated move. Again, not a bonsai, but just very low percentage. So that them pushing wide, that allowed Jesus Vasquez Jr. to slip past, and boom, second place was gifted to him.
Yep.
And then Terlecki was able to win the battle for third to the line as Jose Carlos Hernandez, the Orsalon driver, got by Liberante for the 4th spot, and that's how they would cross the line and complete the podium.
Yeah, indeed. Big win for Turney as getting out front, and then everybody else just kind of battling for second after that. To the hard charger, Oliver Hodgson, and this is a crazy hard charger, not even from last, but from the roll-off. He literally wasn't able to make it through the last chance qualifier. Scooter did the roll-off as they did the year before with the dice to see who's going to potentially get into the show. Hodgson wins the roll-off and then drives up 29 positions to finish 13th. I'm sure Oliver wasn't happy with the way it all rolled out. He would like to have had much better weekend considering his pace. I did. Roll out, roll off. But I'll say this. He probably had some fun past a bunch of carts, I hope.
Yeah, they were not happy. He ended up finishing 7th in the LCQ, so 1 spot away from a transfer position. Had fast lap of the race, because even in that race, I think he had to gain position. I was looking to see where he actually started that race. He started outside the top 6, so he had to fight his way forward. And just came up 1 spot short. I mean, by 0.03 of a second came up short from the transfer position. So he had the pace, just didn't really have the luck in this category. No. An issue in qualifying put him back to 86. So he started all the heat races from 86, or all the way basically from last.
43rd.
Ended up finishing 18th, 21st, and 32nd in the heat races. To put him 48th overall in the points. So again, he has the pace. Last year he had to do the same thing. Came from the LCQ, won the LCQ, and was hard charger of the race last year. So he's got to find better luck when he comes to Vegas.
Yeah, indeed. So in the predictions, as I said, David's gloating from the get-go already. He only won by 1. 7 points for David, 6 for Rob. Poor Nate, just a single point on that one. But I think he rolled the dice a bit on this one here too, and kind of went off script. How did it all play out for you and I to go 7-6?
Yeah, the Massimino thing didn't help him. He had Massimino, Isambard, Overbeck, Turney, Calvo. So there were certainly some drivers that were capable of being up in the podium, just didn't. Calvo was one of them, obviously.
Overbeck wasn't really in the fight. He was just outside the top 10.
Yeah, didn't quite have a good Vegas like Massimino. But again, the speed was there under the Brandon Jarza Crack Racing tent. It just missed Overbeck. So that was his top 5. So he only got 1 point. You had Turney winning, and that was your only points. But luckily you had the match. And you had 1 driver in the top 5. Mm-hmm. I did have 2 drivers in the top 5 because I had Liberante and Turney as well. So I matched your points and got one more because I had Liberante.
So you're gloating because you picked one extra person. That's very David Cole.
No, I'm gloating because of the overall. I'm gloating because my master shifter put me well ahead of you guys. I was doing very well at this point.
Yes. So if we pull master shifter out, I have 10 and you have 8.
We are not pulling master shifter out.
I'm just saying
that was second race of the day.
I'm just saying that of the 2 so far, exactly. There we go. Now we're on top. All right. Another break. We get back. We'll wrap up the race report here, brought to you by Comet Kart Sales, as we look at the big victory in MicroSwift. In karting, it's important to be supported by the right people. With over 40 years of experience in the sport, Trinity Karting Group has everything you need to make your program successful. We do it all, and we do it right. We offer trackside support and arrive and drive programs at many of karting's biggest East Coast events, full product sales and service, and professional coaching from our experienced staff. Trinity Karting Group is a full-service operation based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, which gives us access to our custom-designed driver training facility. This allows us to offer one-on-one coaching to take you to the next level. From arrive and drive and coaching programs to the parts you need, let Trinity Karting Group provide you with customer service and a racing experience second to none. Trinity Karting Group is an official Kart Republic race team, providing full trackside support at all the major USA karting events, including the SCUSA Pro Tour, United States Pro Kart Series, the SCUSA SuperNationals, and other events throughout the season. TKG has Kart Republic, IAME, MG Novinco tires, and more products in stock for those in Ohio and the Midwest region. Trinity Karting Group has a long history in the sport, a winning pedigree, and we're dedicated to driver development. We take pride in our professional approach and our positive attitude. Let us build a custom race program for you. Give us a call at 513-421-4463 or check us out online at trinitykartinggroup.com. Let decades of experience and success lead you to the top of the podium. Join Brandon Jarsacrack Racing as your race team at the sport's major events in the United States. Brandon Jarsacrack is a 4-time United States Pro Kart Series champion, along with a multi-time Superkarts USA Pro Tour and WKA Manufacturers Cup Series race winner. Jarsacrack is ranked among one of the best from his generation to get behind the wheel of a racing kart. BJR provides full race team service and support at all USPKS, SCUSA, and Stars Championship Series events, along with trackside programs at the Trackhouse Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. Partnering with Mike Doty Racing, Brandon's team of driver coaches and mechanics are passionate for the sport, providing decades of experience both on the track and working with many of today's karting standouts and current motorsport stars. Brandon Jarsacrack Racing offers a full range of services, including kart preparation, driver coaching, and race event support for both 2-cycle and 4-cycle competitors. BJR is an official LN Racing Kart team with OTK USA and is an official offset sport race team. Contact them today to develop a program based around your needs. Head to BrandonJarsacrack.com to learn more. We are back. EKN Debrief for the Superkarts USA SuperNationals 27. The race report brought to you by Comet Kart Sales. Let's wrap up this show here with MicroSwift. And here's the headline. Burgess completes dominating season with first SuperNationals win.
It was certainly a dominating year for the American Jamaican that probably will go down as probably one of the best micro seasons of all time. I mean, the kid won Winter Series, Florida Winter Tour, USPKS, Superkarts Pro Tour, Stars Championship Series. I did podiums at races in Canada. You name it. I mean, this kid has done it. Probably is, certainly one of the top micro drivers in North America, if not around the world. It didn't begin that way, however, in qualifying. Just missed out on fast time. It was Alvaro.
I think it's Alvaro. I don't know. Is it a D in it?
There's a D in it.
Right.
Oh, no, there isn't a D in it. Sorry. You're correct. Alvaro Medeiros. Set fast time in qualifying of 55.862 with Cameron Johnson in the second spot, just ahead of Burgess, Aiden Go in fourth, and then Lawrence Perriman in the fast five. So a couple, Alvaro, nobody had him in any of the predictions. So it was a good first, good qualifying lap for him. Unfortunately, he got pushed out, shuffled back throughout the heat races, only getting a best result of 6 in the second heat race, while Burgess put his knowledge to the test and was able to move himself to the front of the field all 3 heat races. And it was Aiden Go that was up runner up in all 3 heat races as well. So they were certainly kind of the top 2 drivers going into the main event with the 3-1-2 finishes they were able to produce.
Super interesting, right? Because Burgess was able to Go hung with Burgess from the get-go. I got it. Yeah, I got that. So stuck with him, but eventually Burgess pulled away in heat race 1, heat race 2. That didn't happen in heat race number 3. Whatever they were tuning on with Aiden, or whether he was kind of dialing it in, he stayed with Burgess. Actually, they battled. He took the lead. I thought Go might come away with the victory in heat race number 3.
Yeah,
it didn't happen, but Aiden stepped things up for sure.
I think it would be, not talking with them, but I think it was more of a confidence thing because again, Aiden didn't do a lot of the national races. He did challenge, he did regional stuff, but Zane Burgess has been in the headlines all year long. And when you're with this guy, it's kind of like, okay, let's see what he can do. How can I get better? And especially at that young age, you have no idea what's going on in these kids' heads. So certainly that. I think it was more confidence than anything. And Leo Simoni finished third in the opening heat race. It was Mario Nario and Mauro Nario in the second heat race, and then Win Godchalk picking up the third spot in the third heat race. So the main event grid looked like this: Zane Burgess and Aiden Go in the front row, Simoni and Hudson Howard moving up into the second row to start the main event, and then Nario and Ivor Spence, one of my picks in the top 5 for going in, who finished 6th last year, starting 6th for the main event. So let's keep that theme going. In the main event, Burgess got a great start. I mean, there's nothing to it. Was able to by the time they got to turn 4, he probably had at least 5-6 kart lengths on the rest of the field.
Because they battled coming out through 1, 2, and 3. 100%. Yep.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Aiden Go, who got kind of shuffled back to, I want to say 4th. There was a little bit of contact, and he went straight off into the wall and turned 6 on the opening lap. Unfortunately, ending his chances at battling for victory or for a podium finish. But that was it, or at least we thought that was it.
Because I was going to say
Burgess had a pretty good lead. I want to say at least 2 seconds, maybe even 3, maybe even 3.
Yeah.
And then by the time we got in the second half of the race, Win Godchalk and Santiago Orleoli, it started working together. They got nose to tail and were pushing. And it looked like Burgess was kind of just on a Sunday drive where these two were kind of like, boom, hitting fast laps, and gaining ground. And even I think it was half second, even on just one lap.
Yeah, 3 to 4 to 5/10 of a second a lap, 100%. We were waiting for it. It was wild.
And so they finally got there. They got to Burgess by the time we got to the last lap. Burgess looked behind him, saw them, went defensive into turn 4. And as they did that, he carried through a normal, pretty good, solid, tight line. Unfortunately, I think Orley only got in the back of Godchalk just a little bit too much, kind of pushed him wide on the exit, nearly hit the wall on the exit of turn 4. So basically he had to check up, Orley only had to check up, and that was it. Burgess had the gap that he needed to go through the final lap, ended up crossing the line just under a second ahead of Orleoli and Godchalk for the victory.
Yeah, the layout of turn number 4 and 5 was you could literally go a little bit shallow on the entry to 4 because you could run really wide on the exit because all you really had to do was be the first guy to the exit of 5, right?
Yeah.
Like unless that guy was able to clear you coming through 5, you had the spot. So indeed, as you said, with with Burgess making that tighter entry, it kind of checked up everybody behind him a little bit. He was able to get out of the corner. And like you said, that big run from Gottschalk and Orioli, which looked like it could have been like a last lap battle that maybe turned 16 over under or whatever it may be, ended up not happening. Burgess was able to roll away, as David had said, just under a second at the line. Orioli does come home for second, which I think was a great run for him for sure. He was kind of outside the top 5 for quite a bit of the weekend. Gottschalk worked his way back forward after a rough time in qualifying. I think he qualified outside the top 10. So when Gottschalk, again, for him to come to third, I think was strong.
13th. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. I think his brother Zev was even a bit quicker than him in qualifying. But then Jaden Francisco had a really strong weekend, as did Leo Simoni, to round up the top 5. Overall, I was really excited by the way the micro drivers performed all weekend long.
Yeah, it's always a great show. These kids love racing. They love being out there. They love hanging out after the racing. And it was a great show. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen the finish come down to closer to the end. But, again, that's just the way racing unfolds sometimes. So, yeah, a great race overall. Great week for this category.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hard Charger Cam Becker on the Kart Republic started all the way back in 45th, 26 spots up to finish in the 19th position, David.
Yeah, the Team USA driver at the Rotax Grand Finals finished top 10. Didn't quite carry over the luck. Just wasn't able to get going here in Vegas, but turned it up on Super Sunday.
Let's talk about the predictions. David comes out with another win here, winning 3 of the 4 classes here in this show. 11 for you. Again, I wasn't that far back. 8 this time. Nate with 3.
You're like the guy that's just happy to be there.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here at the show. Dude, I got my ass smoked the last couple of years.
Hey, we both. So all 3 of us had 3 drivers in the top 5. So
nice.
That's a win for all 3 of us. You had Burgess, Olioli, and Gottschalk. I had Burgess, Gottschalk, and Francisco, while Nate had Burgess, Olioli, and Gottschalk. So very same as you. So the only difference was he had Gottschalk winning it. You had Burgess winning it. So you got the bonus points there. I had Burgess winning it along with Gottschalk in the 3rd position. So I had 2 correct positions, which gives me 11.
I still don't know that the position stuff is the key way to go, but
it is that you get bonus points for selecting the right spot they finish.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Rob, you can't do that except for maybe a winner or 2, but that's it.
I think you're lame. I think sometimes
you set this points up.
No, I did not. I think sometimes you get lucky. You just get lucky. It happens a lot, I think, for you.
You know what? Vegas, sometimes you get lucky. Yeah. Sometimes you don't remember.
You did on Sunday night. You did not on Sunday night. All right, folks. Last break. When we get back, we'll look at the Constructors' Championship. We'll wrap up the predictions one more time. We'll do a full-on wrap-up, and, of course, we'll look at the EKN Trackside Live race calendar, which, believe it or not, starts in 2025. It's a storied brand in karting, and it's got a new home in North America. Energy Course Americas is the official distributor for the Energy Course karting chassis and product line here in the US and Canada. The Energy Course brand was founded in 1997 out of passion and skill. Manufactured in Italy, Energy Course has gained national and international recognition with success in all different categories. Energy Course Americas offers an online store for the entire product line of the Energy Course brand, including complete racing packages, spare parts, race gear, clothing, and more, providing an excellent shopping experience. Race the brand that 9 of the 20 drivers currently in Formula One competed on during their karting careers. Visit energycourse.io to see the latest deals and to learn more about Energy Course Americas. Experience karting excellence with CompKart. The CompKart chassis brand celebrates its 10th season in 2024 and has launched a new website dedicated to the worldwide brand. Developed by J3 Competition here in the US, CompKart has flourished around the world with success at all levels of the sport, including titles in North America, South America, Europe, and Australia. The CompKart Covert 3.0 is the brand's design for single-speed competition for junior and senior drivers, while the Covert KZ is dedicated to the shifter divisions. The CompKart Ranger 28 model is designed for cadet racing and was the official chassis of the Mini Max division at the 2019 Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals in Sarno, Italy. Four-cycle racers can utilize the popular Comp Kart Covert 4R, while the Covert DD2 Rotax and Micro Kid Kart models are also available. Visit compkart.co for more on the fastest growing chassis line in the world. Remember to choose the flow. All right, folks, back out of here. Final segment for this edition of the Debrief as we wrap things up for part one of our Superkarts USA SuperNats 27 coverage. David, let's get into the Constructors' Championship of our first four classes. And interestingly, I'll let you kind of roll through it. Four different manufacturers, let's say four different brands, but also four different manufacturers, which I think is cool.
Yeah. Well, you have a number of manufacturers that produce different brands, but this was certainly four different manufacturers in it, with Tony Kart taking the win, Factory Karts, the American-made chassis, taking a victory, Kart Republic, and Sodi Karts. So Italy, America, Italy, and France. So unique. Yeah. That's something we've been seeing over the SuperNationals is the diversity of the chassis brands that do win. The record back in 2019 was 11 chassis brands in the 12 race classes. So that year's wild. Even 10 in the 12 classes we had in 2013.
Yeah. Predictions, we've kind of already gone through it here. Rob in KA 100 Junior wins with 3, Nate 2, David 1. David smoked us in Master Shifter 16 to 9 to 8. 1 in KA 100 Senior. Yeah, big time. Only topped me by 1 in KA 100 Senior, but Micro Swift got me by 3 with that Godshot move. After four classes, David now with a 9-point lead, 35 points for Dave, 26 for Rob, 14 for Nate. What were our overall points last year? I don't know that I even had 26 points overall last year.
Ooh, yeah. Let me pull that up. Last year, I will say this. I'll give you a little precursor. I did not score as many points as I did last year. Last year was a pretty good total for me. Yeah. Opening up the file right now. No, actually, I did outscore last year. You actually had 37 total last year. Right. And I had 58. Well, Nate had 45. So this is not going to be Nate's year with.
No. I'm definitely going to be more because I did really well in K100 Master. I know that. So.
No, there you go. I mean, there's always
bright side.
Yeah,
look at glass half. I'm a glass half full guy. You know that.
There you go.
You know.
I know that.
Let's wrap things up. As David had mentioned in the By the Numbers, the third largest SuperNationals and was the largest event with 9 classes. Now that's what you need to go back and look at average entry, David, to see.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is the third. Yeah. That'll be, I'll do the math.
Do the average.
Maybe we'll talk about that in the next show.
I like it.
But third largest with 9 categories. Again, I'm awesome. We got room to grow. X30 Pro Shifter had plenty of opportunity or spots available. That'll be, it'll be interesting to see how this event continues to grow.
One of the things, obviously, that if there was any kind of a downside, was there was a numerous red flags on the weekend. Now you're going to have that with a temporary circuit. There are times when you're going to get to the wall, things are going to happen. You're going to have flips, whatever it may be. A fast racetrack, as we know, there was a number of red flags. There was a couple of pretty big shunts on the weekend. I think all told, everybody's fine. Obviously, there's the pretty bad rep for Dan Mitchell, a VRD racing team owner, smashed his teeth a little bit. He's getting that fixed. He and I have talked a bit about that. But David, there was a bunch of red flags on the weekend, all told.
Yeah, there were. And you're going to get that in temporary circuits. A lot of it is precautionary, making sure the driver is okay, because there's not always the easy access to get them off the racetrack. And so that's where a lot of it, and especially with the younger categories, red flags were thrown because of the age category that was out there. So a couple of them were, again, precautionary, making sure the driver was all right.
Let's be real. A lot of them, the driver came back and raced the next session.
Right. I mean, there was the Master Shifter one. I think that was the third heat. I think that was the one that got cut short. Or they restarted. I can't remember. That's where the driver got ejected and kind of did spins by himself on the pavement.
DJ Jenkins. That's right.
Yeah, that's who it was. And yeah, he was kind of, you know, a little shaken up, but got right up after the medics made sure he was all right, and again continued racing. So yeah, I think the Mitchell one was the only driver who didn't return to come and race, but majority of them were precautionary, making sure the drivers were right, and that's something I think we, you know, excuses maybe look into building into the schedule as a little bit more of a gap between categories, just to kind of help with that.
Yeah.
Or just making the lunch a little bit longer to help kind of recoup.
Give that cushion to bring it back in.
But even in most of the red flags were in the afternoon categories. So that was kind of the tough part, because we used to have the sunset break. So that would kind of catch up and get us back on speed. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, again, most of them precautionary.
So the one driver, as we said, didn't come back, and that was Dan Mitchell, that hard wreck in was heat race number 3, I believe it was.
Correct. Yeah.
I literally was messaging with Dan. He's like, "Well, listen, it means I got to come back stronger next year." I'm like, wow, that was a big shunt, and you're coming back next year. I go, perfect. You got 360 days to practice. So I love it. All told, Dave, let's wrap this thing up. This is your note, obviously. A historic Super Sunday. There was a bunch of stuff that happened that will make this event kind of a history-making race.
Yeah, certainly in that. And as we said, you know, just the numbers alone was historic. I just did the average. Yeah, 61 is the highest average per class.
And which was what year?
This year.
This is the highest average.
Yeah, highest average. Yeah.
So essentially, to a certain extent, on one level, the biggest Super Nats ever in terms of average, because you didn't have the 12 classes. That means a lot, right? That's huge. But yeah, again, for this particular show, one of the bigger things we've talked about over the years, 4 4-time winners. Now it's 3 4-time winners, 1 5-time winner, right? Yeah,
5-time. You know, that's you know, that's something we've been looking for. You know, Musgrave last won back in 2019. That was his third straight in the S1/Pro Shifter category. Then, you know, we had Kip Foster, who has been there as well, won in 2019 as well. That was the last time he won for Mal. Won his 4th last year, but we knew he wasn't coming back. So really the highlight was looking at Foster and Musgrave. You know, still waiting for Connor De Felipe to come back, but he's too busy doing his car things.
Yeah, so. He's got a thing going on.
So maybe we'll see him in the Masters class in a couple of years.
That would be amazing. Yeah.
Trying to go for it. But that's the thing. We'll talk more about some history tomorrow. But this was certainly a historic week for sure.
Yeah, more about that tomorrow. Let's wrap up this show with the EKN Trackside Live Race Calendar presented by Factory Carts. Made in the USA. It's not just a statement, it's a mission at Factory Carts of America. Led by now 4-time Super Nats champion Billy Musgrave, probably 5-time Super Nats champion Billy Musgrave. Factory Carts manufactures their frames completely in-house at their Riverside, California facility. Built and designed from the ground up specifically for the American market, Factory Carts brings new innovations and solutions that are long overdue. No other karting manufacturer stands behind its products as Factory Carts does, providing a 2-year warranty on all their frames. Learn more by visiting factorycarts.com or email Billy anytime at info@factorycarts. I love that when you have to update a in-show sponsor read to go 5-time Super Nats champion. So again, Trackside Live Race Calendar, David, I'm going to say thank goodness. It has been a burner of a year. We're done now, essentially. I got to go to the PRI show still, but you're done essentially for the next 6 weeks. Get a chance to spend some time with the family, enjoy Thanksgiving, enjoy Christmas, because our next race, January 10th to the 12th, the SCUSA Winter Series at Orlando Kart Center.
Yeah, they're going to be doing the 2 weekends, January and February, in Orlando, Florida, the site of this year's Winter Nationals. So a place SCUSA's been to, they understand the facility, and making a move away from the Homestead track, where it's been basically nearly since it began. I want to say first year Winter Series, I think Ocala was on the schedule. I think they did 2 different tracks, correct?
Man, I can't remember that, David. I think you're right, but man, I literally can't even remember.
Yeah, it was because yeah, I'll double check that.
Do that.
But yeah, excited to see how they present this for sure.
So we go East Coast, and then a couple of weeks later, we go West Coast, January 31st to February the 2nd, to kick off the Challenge of the Americas for 2025 at the Musselman Honda Circuit in Tucson, Arizona. Love that racetrack. And David, it'll be the start of kind of a new year, of a new program for the Challenge of the Americas. Not only expands to 4 races from its traditional 3 races, goes well into the early part of summer as well. It's not just a winter series now, trying to kind of lead into the more being really the primary West Coast national program for the Challenge of the Americas. Also, the debut of the new Shinko kart tires as well.
Yeah, the premier West half series, because we got to talk about the western half of North America, where the challenge will be going. And the debut of the Shinko tires that they'll be utilizing in 2025.
So again, that wraps up this edition of the EKN Debrief, only part 1 of our SuperNationals 27 post-race coverage. Of course, this show brought to you by Sodi Racing USA. David, I'll be back tomorrow. We'll bang out another one of these shows to cap off the remaining 5 categories. But otherwise, great to kind of look back at this past weekend, because it was a great one at the SuperNationals at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Again, join us again this next show, folks. We're going to have 2 back-to-back for you. Lots of great stuff to listen to. As always, this podcast will be available on all the podcast platforms. And again, you can also listen to it when we eventually run it on the EKN radio network. Thanks for tuning into this one here, folks. We'll be back with another one tomorrow. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.